Welcome to Greek for a Week. I'm glad that you are going to be viewing this video this week. We will begin a new paragraph, which is chapter 2, verses 25 through 30. This is the final paragraph of chapter 2 in the book of Philippians. This week we're just looking at two verses, 25 and 26. And let's go ahead and translate, and then we'll take a look at some things and see how Paul might be putting these two verses together. Mostly we're going to look at some verbs. I thought that would be helpful, just a little bit of a review to see some of those different verbal forms. So verse 25 is here, verse 26 is here. We'll translate in this way. But I considered it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and co-worker and fellow soldier, and your messenger and minister of my need, because he was longing for all of you and was distressed because you heard that he was sick. As is typical with conjunctions and particles, they serve what I would suggest there is a discourse function. Well, I want to look at de here. De is serving as a conjunction, but I'm going to suggest that it is serving as a connector, a conjunction, that's likely signaling a new development in the discourse, or it's a new development in Paul's thought. Because what he does is he changes from Timothy in the preceding verses to now he's discussing Epaphroditus. If you recall, Titus was an example of godliness and humility in the preceding verses. Now he's going to demonstrate the same thing with Epaphroditus. So that de signals a new development. The egesamen. Okay, here is my verb egesamen. First person singular, aorist middle. Okay, you have the samein ending, aorist middle, indicative of egeamai, I considered. Then you also have another verbal form, the pempsai. Okay, pempsai. That is a aorist active infinitive of pempo. Again, I think usually when we see those infinitives, we might think that it's a complementary infinitive. In other words, what is it that Paul considered doing? Or what's the rest of the thought of this verb here for considered? Is it to send? Okay. And I think what we have going on potentially is he considered it here, and then he considered it necessary. So this word here is the word necessary. Then what further explains the necessity is, I think then, is to send. So I might call that infinitive exegetical, which just simply explains the necessity that Paul sees, and that is to send to you Epaphroditus. You'll see three accusatives of apposition, which further define Epaphroditus. So here is Epaphroditus, okay? And then the ton adelphon would be an accusative of apposition. Su nergon would be an accusative of apposition. And then your final one here is the word for fellow soldier, sus stratiotin. That is also another accusative of apposition. Now we come to de once again. Here is de. Again, I think this is signaling further development in the thought. It's changing from Epaphroditus now down to the Philippians. So he's changing, if you will, the character that's on the scene. And then you have apostellon and turgon. So these two words here are also accusatives of apposition. Then we get to verse 26 and we have a causal conjunction, the epide. All right, that would be a causal conjunction. Then you have two present active participles. Both of them are in a periphrastic construction because of the ain. Here is the imperfect form of Amy. So this is a periphrastic participle as well as this one here. Okay, so those are two periphrastic participle constructions. Then you have the ekusate. Here is a verbal form of akuo, second person plural, aorist active indicative of akuo, you heard. Then this hati here is, I think, a hati of content. What is it that you heard? What's the content of hearing? And that is that he was sick. So the ace the nason, third person singular, aorist active indicative of astheneo, he was sick. So verses 25, 26, a lot going on there. But again, this is beginning the new paragraph where Paul describes Epaphroditus as an example. So next week we will look at verses 27 and 28, and we'll take it from there. Have a great week.